On June 10, 1940, Italian Prime Minister and Duce of Fascism Benito Mussolini declared war on France and Great Britain in a well-known speech from his Roman residence Palazzo Venezia, in which he rallied the people of Italy to take arms against the common enemies. While many Italian Canadians supported the fascist regime for its role in enhancing Italy's presence on the world stage, most Italians in Canada were not hostile to their host country, and very few remained committed followers of the fascist ideology until the very end, as most Italian Canadians turned their back to Mussolini after the heavily criticized invasion of Eastern Africa and the brutal conquest of Italy's place in the sun. As a member of the Commonwealth, Canada entered the conflict in the Allies' field and enacted the Defence of Canada Regulations, better known as the War Measures Act, in virtue of which the government led by Prime Minister William Lyon Mackenzie King conferred to itself the power to suspend habeas corpus, revoke rights, seize property, and arrest those who were deemed a threat to the safety of Canadian subjects. In consequence of the act, 31,000 Italian Canadians became pretty much overnight enemy aliens. These people were fingerprinted, photographed and ordered to report monthly to the RCMP and local authorities. The act also allowed the Minister of Justice to detain without due process anyone who acted in any manner prejudicial to the public safety or the safety of the state. As a result, free speech was restricted and any person critical of government positions could be interned without charge or trial. Even Montreal Mayor Camille Houde was arrested at City Hall in 1940 and imprisoned in Ontario at Camp Etowah for 4 years because he opposed conscription. Between 1940 and 1943, about 600 Italian Canadian men were arrested and sent to internment camps as potentially dangerous conspirators with alleged fascist connections. It was sufficient to be one of the advertisers in the Bollettino Italo-Canadese of Toronto or L'Italia of Montreal, the most widely circulating bi-weekly Italian-Canadian fascist periodicals, to be automatically indicted and captured as dangerous individuals. Furthermore, several people were arrested on suspicion of being subversive only because their names were included in the public subscriptions for the building of the Casa d'Italia of Toronto, today the Italian Consulate General, on Beverly Street, or for the donations of golden items in support of a country, Italy, financially hit by the sanctions imposed by the League of Nations in the aftermath of the Ethiopian crisis. Most of the Italian Canadian men were interned at Camp Etowah, Camp 33, as well as camps in Minton, New Brunswick and Kananaskis, Alberta, for at least a couple of years. No Italian Canadians, whether they were regarded as fascists, communists or anarchists, in fact not only fascists were taken in as prisoners, were ever charged with criminal activity as a result of the internment. Quite a lot has been written on the internment, but not as much on the life in the camps. Mario Duliani, a writer and playwright from Montreal, was imprisoned at Petawawa and wrote his fictionalized diary, The City Without Women, in 1945. In his book, Duliani gives his personal account of the daily routine behind barbed wire. Duliani described his job in the camp hospital and his contacts with the men that came and went through the doors. Other men worked as loggers nearby, while some did as little as possible. Recreation consisted of card games and outdoor games, including bocce, among groups of Italians. Internees varied from Italian-born Canadians to German-born Canadians to sailors from ships caught in Montreal Harbour at the outset of the war and other potential fifth columnists rounded up under the War Measures Act. Among other things, Duliani makes several references to the ex-mayor of Montreal, as he would call Houde, in the camp. The internment of Italian Canadians has left a significant legacy. In 2013, as part of the permanent exhibition Italian Canadians as Enemy Aliens, Memories of World War II, at the Columbus Centre in Toronto, funded by Village Charities and Citizenship and Immigration Canada, artist Harley Valentine created a monument recognizing the internment called Riflessi, Italian-Canadian Internment Memorial. The main statue is composed of several profiles, a father, a grandfather, an internee, pregnant mother and a child, that combine to form a single figure in mirror-polished stainless steel and powerfully symbolizes the devastating effects of the 1940 raids and subsequent captivity on Italian-Canadian families. In September 2018, the RCMP planted a tree on the grounds of the Canadian Police College in Ottawa as a show of regret for their involvement with the internment of Italian Canadians. The political world recognized the hardships sustained by the Italian Canadian community and apologized, albeit informally, in 1990 before a Toronto meeting of the National Congress of Italian Canadians through former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. Finally, and this happened only a few months ago, in 2019 Prime Minister Justin Trudeau issued an official apology to the Italian Canadian community for the imprisonment of several of its members during the final stages of World War II.